You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun of the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, Blake Vartanian, Realty Pro 100. Welcome.
Thank you, Ron.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Celebrating today. Yeah, there's some interesting ones on here. National Odometer Day. Why would anybody celebrate National Odometer Day? Limerick Day. Okay, we can deal with that one. Fibromyalgia Awareness Day.
It is what it is.
And then, now, I don't know if we can celebrate these today, because in some areas they might be legitimate. Some areas they might not be legitimate, because some areas, the government just pays you too much to stay home. But today is National Receptionist Day, Third Shift Workers Day. I only work half day anyway, so I don't have to worry about third shift, 12 hours, half day. Wow, I digress. National School Nurse Day. How do you celebrate that when most of the schools are closed? I just question some of these things. Inquiring minds want to know. National Nutty Fudge Day. That's the one that I was thinking about. I've been looking at that all day. I even shared it yesterday. I haven't had anybody bring me any nutty fudge yet today, but I still hold out hope. Dow Jones Industrial Average, look at that, down 413 points. Ow! S&P 500 down 64. NASDAQ down 306 points. Oil up 75 cents a barrel. Do you want to know? Should I tell you about oil and what's going on in the oil prices? Because, every dollar oil goes up about 2 to 3 cents per gallon of gasoline. Well, if you want to get gasoline, the best place, you can't go on the eastern coast because they got a pipeline shut down. So they're not getting gasoline. Mississippi, $2.64 a gallon. Nothing close like that in Calizuela. Alaska, $3.28 a gallon. Hawaii, $3.83 a gallon. And right here in the formerly Golden State, $4.11 a gallon. $2.99 is the national average, and we're paying $4.11 in Calizuela. Just to throw this by you, I know some people don't want to know this, but last year, this time, Calizuela gas prices, $2.76 a gallon on average. Compared that to last year, same time, national, $1.85. So, something, hey, what are your thoughts about our governor now? I shouldn't say that because some people get mad at me. What the heck? Most people get mad at me. So if you're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, you know that I'm going to speak my mind. And whether it's somebody likes it or not, it is what it is. We know that. Come on.
It is what it is.
172,331. Should I say that again? 172,331. Because our wonderful DHS secretary doesn't understand what 172,331 means. Did you see our wonderful Secretary Mayorkas yesterday when asked about what he means by the border is closed? And he said, Well, what I mean by the border is closed is the border is closed. 172,331. That's how many people the border agents took into custody in March. 172,331. Now, do you think they got them all? I doubt it. Now, should we compare that to a year ago? Liz Cheney doesn't want to hear this, but she's got her own problems to deal with. It was about 17,000 a year ago, and we're now at 172,000, same March to March. So when the president tells you that it's a seasonal thing, I don't know what season he's talking about. Maybe the season of a new president. Maybe that could be it. Maybe it's a season of a new policy. Do you think that could be the issue? And the unintended consequences, we've been seeing this from ICE and DHS and DEA. Our numbers are unbelievably very similar. Like this was up, 980%? Drugs, same thing, because if the border agents are worried about trying to catch 172,331 people in a single month, well, it's kind of like, watch what I'm doing with my left hand, but you're not going to see what I'm doing with my right hand. They're both on top of the tables. Don't get mad at me. Don't go any ideas, right? So what's happening is, while the border agents are dealing with immigrants and then having to be babysitters, well, the cartels are shipping in drugs, massive amounts of drugs, fentanyl, cocaine, heroin, marijuana, all of them coming in. And there might be some cause or some case to say, something, who's the favorite child of the cartels? President Biden. Could be. I'm just throwing that out there for you. Moving right along, Liz Cheney. Yes, she is now out of her job as the number 3 person in the Republican Party House of Representatives. I don't think she's going to collect. I wonder if she'll collect unemployment. No, she's got that cushy job in Congress. But it looks like maybe in 2022 she may be on unemployment, because looks like the her constituents don't like her anti-Trump rhetoric, and her colleagues in the House of Representatives are wondering, why isn't she working on bringing the Republican Party together instead of continuing the negativity? Good question. She can't answer it because she's got a vendetta. What's the Senator McCain's daughter's name? She's Cindy. No, Cindy's the wife. I don't remember the daughter, but she went on the same thing, right? Megan, you're right. Yeah, Megan McCain. Right. So she had her life's mission was an anti-Trumper, and I understand it. Right. I mean, you make derogatory comments against my dad, you're going to have to deal with my size 16. Right. So I can understand these daughters and dads. Gotta love it. But something, if you want to keep your job as number 3 of the representative in the House of Representatives, you better be careful there. Hey, I was looking at the president's schedule for yesterday. Are you ready for this? Should I give you? Can you get a piece of paper out, because you might not be able to remember everything that the president had on his schedule for yesterday, because this is going to be fascinating. Are you ready? Here it comes. 1 p.m. He had a virtual meeting with some governors to talk about COVID. If you want to know what else he did, so does everybody else, because that's all that was on the schedule for yesterday. Unbelievable. I'd love to get a schedule like that. And again, like I say, I only work half day, but I mean, nothing like that one. Moving right along, let's see what else is going on in the world. Have you ever listened to Victor Davis Hanson? Great columnist, in my opinion. Says that American culture is changing not because of popular opinion, not because of groundswell of support from the folks, but because the elites are imposing a destruction of American tradition on the folks. Very fascinating commentary right there. He's comparing this day now to the 60s. Small group of people, big influence. Well, talking about now Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all these corporations have decided that they're going to be the arbiters of free speech. Disney, the AT&Ts, Comcast, NBCs, they support social media censorship. So fascinating conversation. If you want to read about that, that's another good one. North Dakota joining Montana, Arkansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and saying, federal government, we do not want unemployment assistance programs from Washington. They want their people to go back to work. Fascinating. We're still seeing. I just saw this report. I don't know if I've shared this with you. Being on unemployment is about the same as getting $18 an hour. Ow! $18 an hour. That's the competition. Now think about that concept. Does it make sense to anybody if you're working for 15, which, a startup wage, right? A beginner's wage in many instances, and you get 18 for unemployment, why would you go back to work? Integrity, right? But it's the American way. You're understanding that it's a stepping stone. It's not, no matter what Bernie Sanders wants to say, $15 is not meant to be a living wage. The minimum wage is not meant to be a living wage. It's meant to get people to learn how to work, right? I've got a son. I love the idea of him working. I've got 3 sons, but I love the idea of one of them working and learning a trade, learning a craft, getting out there and being a productive citizen. He doesn't get the opportunity or the option of sitting home on unemployment, right? That's not the way it's going to happen in our world. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to talk about inflation. I know nobody wants to talk about inflation, but yeah, we're going to talk about it. And how do you have a plan for your wealth or your income to rise as quick as inflation is growing? I got one. We're going to share it. Is it too late to apply for forbearance? Rent versus own? We got a lot on the docket today. We got a featured home brought to you by myfavoritelender.net, all that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. On Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you tired of paying rent? Are you tired of paying someone else's mortgage? Do you know qualified folks can potentially purchase a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket? Ron Siegel can help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. If you're tired of paying someone else's mortgage, reach out to Ron today at ronismylender.com. That's ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Blue Water Credit Repair is the industry leader in fixing bad credit. Did you know a 40-point increase in your credit score can save you $40,000 on a home loan and $4,000 on a car loan? You deserve good credit and peace of mind. Take the first step today and go to bluewatercredit.com and register for a free consultation from one of their credit repair experts. That's bluewatercredit.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Dreaming of your retirement does not include losing your house. However, due to today's lower stock market, higher medical bills, and taxes, many retirees face this very problem. This is why it is necessary that you, as a baby boomer considering retirement within the next 10 years, understand reverse mortgages and what one could do for you or your parents. A reverse mortgage could make it possible for you or your parents to travel, buy a second home, or start a new business. For more information about reverse mortgages, just call our off-air number at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990, or visit realestatewithron.com and click the free workshop button.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime. at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990. Dow Jones now down 455 points. NASDAQ down 331 points. S&P 500 down 65 points. Are we getting a trend here? Oh, the 10-year Treasury, that's up 6 basis points. That tells you that our seniors, maybe they'll get a little bit more money on their yield if they're buying something, but is there a better way? And the mortgage-backed securities, down 31 basis points right now, down 31 basis points. That's a massive move down. And anybody can tell you that information. It's all available right there on that super secret website, google.com. Why? That's the question. Why is all of this happening? Well, it all comes down to what I told you yesterday and the day before. Right? We've been talking about this for a while. We had May 12th circled on our calendar. The Consumer Price Index measures inflation on the consumer level, was reported at 0.8%, above expectations of 0.2%, and increased by 1.6% to 4.2% year over year, exceeding the 3.6% estimate. Core CPI strips out food and energy. Why do they take out food and energy? Because you don't need it? I don't. I'll tell you in a minute. Increased by 0.9% for April, increased by 1.4% to 3%, above the expectations of 2.3%. They strip out food and energy because it's not a term, or it's not a component that's really able to be controlled, right? You have to have food, you have to have energy, so that's why they take that out of the inflationary numbers to see what's really happening. You have to have those things. But I told you this was going to happen, and I'm going to tell you right here, right now, Ron Siegel Radio first, it's going to be worse next month. When the numbers come out next month, it'll be even worse, because this month, what we actually happened to see was our 0.8 that was reported, and you put that on top of a negative 0.4, that comes out to what, give or take, right, about 1.2. Add that to the 1.6, rounding errors and all of that kind of good stuff. That's where we come up with 3% inflation. Next month, it's going to be even worse than that, so we're going to see what the Federal Reserve has to do. Can anybody say Jimmy Carter? Are you old enough to remember Jimmy? Of course, then again, the president went to see him to get guidance on the economy. I don't know what he went to see him for. But the president did go to see Jimmy Carter, and if you remember the Jimmy Carter days, or if you are a historian or can read, you'll notice that the inflation was rampant in those days. Saw interest rates get up to 18%. Now, for the decade then, I think I did the chart. I shared it with a lot of folks, that we have that chart available that shows what interest rates were way back then. And it was a significant number. In the 80s, we were looking at, for the decade, average 12.7%. Think about that, you millennials right now that are looking at a 3% interest rate and saying, when's it going to go back down? Right? So it might not ever go back down to there. I hope not, because that means the economy is pretty bad. Right? When were the two times we saw these numbers? It was during the Great Recession, and then during the pandemic is when we saw interest rates that low. So not a pleasant time. But that's why we're seeing what's happening in the marketplace. It's all about inflation. And I was just sharing some information here in studio. You couldn't hear us because we weren't broadcasting at that time. Just a couple of numbers for you to think about, for you to contemplate. Right, gas prices, you can feel in that one, right? Up about 25%. Chicken and pork chops up about 10%. Eggs and cheddar cheese up 5%. Lumber up 300%. Ow! But how much is your income up? We're going to talk about that. This is all dealing with inflation. And how do you combat it? That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. But inflation, how do we deal with inflation? And I just heard this today for first time in a long, long time. We're going to chat this morning. Blake Vartanian, Realty Pro 100, is in the house. So I heard a commentary this morning about stay away from paper investments. Right? Not pulp, but I mean stock market, bond market. Gold isn't doing so well this morning either. But one of the things that you're really evangelize is the real estate world and how real estate is a hedge on inflation.
You know, Ron, it truly is. When we look back historically, real estate has outperformed almost every other asset class. And if we look at each one of us going into, as an example, retirement, you have to look at what Social Security projects for you, look at how much you think you can save on your own, and then calculate what is a predictable hedge against inflation to keep me solvent during my retirement years. And so each one of us will face that at some point. There's no escaping it unless you just happen to have a shorter lifespan and you don't get to that point.
So that means we want to get there.
We want to get there. And
I want to get to that part because I don't like the idea of a shorter lifespan.
No, and I don't wish that on anyone. So if you look at your life's cost, let's say as an example, the average family in Orange County, I would say the middle class is looking at around $150,000 to $250,000 a year, you know, in general, looking at the statistics that are available from the census. And if you take the high end,
150 or 200,000 a year in what?
In income.
Oh, income. Okay.
I'm sorry. Pardon.
I'm a simple guy, right?
Right. In income and expenses, you know, between all of the things we have to pay for, from medical expenses to, you know, housing costs to the cars we want to drive, the lifestyle that we choose. So when you go to retire, let's say you want an early retirement and you want to work towards a retirement at 55 or 60, the lifespan of many people will be more than 40 years past that. And so,
Sure.
So if you're at the, let's say $150,000 a year in expenses and you're at 4 million, 40 years, that 40 years at 150,000 is going to be $6 million needs to be your current net worth just at today's prices, not counting future inflation.
Wow. So what you're saying is I need $4 million in the bank today if I want to retire and basically live exactly as I am today.
Well, the problem is if you leave it in the bank's going to pay you 1% or 2%, which isn't going to keep up with the inflation
I'm not getting that much, Blake. Can you tell me where to go?
Yeah, well, that's
no, don't tell me where to go.
Yeah.
You don't need to tell me where to go. I got that.
I like you, so I won't do that. So the main thing to start thinking about in your life is, how do I start accumulating wealth? And so that I can be financially independent. And everyone has the ability to start thinking about it. Acting on it is the next phase. And that's what we do, is we help people who are thinking about it put themselves in a position to act on it. Because it seems overwhelming if you just look at the end number and you go, how am I going to get $4 or $5 or $6 million? Well, it's interesting over time is that it becomes possible when you invest in the right asset class.
That would not be the lottery.
Not the lottery, not something that's unpredictable. Like as an example, I'll use something I saw this morning, that Zillow stock is down 47% this year. So if you were betting on Zillow stock, you're right now, your portfolio would be down considerably. So it's not to illustrate anything other than what's out there in the public arena that was shared on CNBC this morning. So when you look at a year ago, if you bought a property with $400,000 and you put 5% down, that would be $20,000. You could get into it, and you know, and I know that we can get someone into a property, FHA. We can typically get them in around the 5% mark. Is that reasonable?
Sure.
So that $20,000 investment based on the national average. So I'm not even suggesting that you have to buy real estate in California in order to do this, because some people in California own real estate outside of California.
Right.
And the main thing is that you invest into some asset class somewhere that is in real estate that has a likelihood and a history of appreciating in the past. It's not a predictor of what will happen in the future, but so far in the 40 years I've been in the business, you can't go back and buy anything at the same price you could buy in 1981 or 82.
Sure, that doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. So when you look at
We'd like to.
Right.
No, I'd like to be able to go back and get a house that from 1981 and then sell it in today's market. Right? That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be amazing. We'd buy as many as we could, right?
Absolutely.
So when you look at that particular example, that $20,000 investment, the nationwide average of appreciation published yesterday in Yahoo Finance was 16% in the housing market year over year.
Year over year, okay.
Year over year. So that 16% isn't on the $20,000 that you put in, it's on the $400,000 of the gross investment that you purchased and took control of. So that 16% would equate to a $464,000 valuation on that same property today, a year later.
So that means it went up $64,000
on your
on my $20,000 investment,
which is a 320% appreciation.
I'm not sure I've seen that in any stocks lately. I mean, I look at the market, and it does pretty well, but I don't think I've seen that in the stock market.
Well, and most people will counter, there's additional costs to real estate, as in mortgage payments, et cetera. And I always look at it and say, we're going to, most of us are going to pay to live somewhere.
Sure.
And as an example, if you buy a life insurance policy, you're making an investment in your future, betting against yourself. The only way you can typically collect on that is you have to die.
Another one of these things. I don't like some of these analogies,
right?
Blake. I mean,
right. So I never understood why people invest heavily into an asset that someone else has control of your money, your monthly payment, or your yearly annual premium, and you have to die so that someone else can benefit.
What an interesting thought.
Why not have the real estate where you can actually have the ownership, enjoyment, and control of it, and actually have a tangible asset that you can see, and as I said, others can enjoy if you want to collect rent and have a passive income stream during.
We're going to talk about that when we get back, because it sounds like we started with, okay, we got my house and I'm living there and I'm paying rent, and that's going up on a modest, Orange County, California, that's a pretty modest house, $400,000, right? Because I'm looking, I had the chart on my screen, which I think I did. There it is. Median home price, $836,440, Orange County, California. Right. So that's a modest price.
And we're selling condos in that price range.
Sure. Okay. So they are available.
Yes, they are. We actually have multiple properties right now on our listing board that are available.
We got a call if you don't have one already. Call us at 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch with Blake and his team. Hey, you're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, how do we take it to the next level? Bam! We're going to talk about that one. It's also not too late to apply for forbearance if you need it. We've got a featured home brought to you by myfavoritelender.net, all that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter at Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. The replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you paying rent because you think you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you renting because you don't believe that you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? The Siegel lending team at RonIsMyLender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel lending team today at RonIsMyLender.com. Again, ronismylender.com, license under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed rate below 3.5% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $300,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,300 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed to NMLS ID 217037. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Are you tired of paying rent? Are you tired of paying someone else's mortgage? Do you know qualified folks can potentially purchase a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket? Ron Siegel can help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. If you're tired of paying someone else's mortgage, reach out to Ron today at ronismylender.com. That's ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Yeah.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text SLT Home Digest to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. Not too late to apply for forbearance. We talked about foreclosures yesterday. Let's talk about forbearance today. Over the past year, the pandemic made it challenging for some homeowners to make their mortgage payments. Thankfully, the government initiated a forbearance program to provide much-needed support. Unless they're extended once again, some of these plans and the corresponding mortgage payment deferral options will expire soon. That said, there's still time to request assistance. If your loan is backed by HUD, FHA, USDA, or VA, you can apply for initial forbearance by June 30, 2021. Recently, the Consumer Finance Institute of the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia surveyed a national sample of 1,172 homeowners with mortgages. They discussed their familiarity with and understanding of lender accommodations that might be available under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security, the CARES Act. The results indicate that some borrowers didn't take advantage of the support available through forbearance. Quote, most borrowers who had not issued forbearance during the pandemic reported that it was because they simply did not need it. However, among the remainder, a lack of understanding about available accommodations may also be playing a role. Around 2 out of 3 in this group reported not seeking forbearance because they were unsure or pessimistic about whether they would qualify, even though a high fraction of borrowers are eligible for forbearance under the CARES Act, unquote. Here are some of the reasons why those borrowers didn't opt for forbearance. 1, they were concerned forbearance may be costly. Number 2, they didn't understand how to request forbearance. Number 3, they didn't understand how the plans worked. Neither did the government. Or whether they would qualify. If you have questions or concerns, the following answers may ease your fears. If you're concerned forbearance may be costly, CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, explains, quote, for most loans, there will be no additional fees, penalties, or additional interest added to your account, and you do not need to submit additional documentation to qualify. You can simply tell your servicer that you have a pandemic-related financial hardship, unquote. Important to contact your mortgage provider, the company you send your mortgage payment to every month, to explain your current situation and determine the best available plan. If you're not sure how to request it, give us a call at 800-306-1990. Again, this is a call, I like to refer to this, it's a safety net, right? And I've got the whole article that you can find right there on our socials, but this is a safety net. It's not, in my opinion, to be used as a strategy or to try and deal with trying to game the system. It's going to hurt some people long term. And if you don't understand how to use it the right way, it may hurt you. It's intended to protect you. It's intended so you don't go through forbearance or foreclosure, so you don't lose your home. We don't want to go through another 2008, 9, 10, right? So there were some good purposes or intentions with the CARES Act and the forbearance. Unfortunately, we've got people in our society that take advantage. And I'm not going to promote the taking advantage aspect, but I will be the one to share with anybody how to take advantage of the safety net that's there for your benefit, for your protection. That's the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text SLT Home Digest to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. Continuing our conversation, Blake Vartanian is in the house. We're chatting about inflation. How are you going to deal with it? Retirement. Are you going to be able to do it? Are you going to be able to afford it? How about investing in real estate? And there's always a conversation when I have these chats with folks. Well, Ron, you're just a real estate honk. You're in you lead a lending team, and you're dealing with real estate and realtors all the time. So of course you're going to push these ideas. Well, if you've been listening to Ron Siegel Radio for any length of time, I am an equal opportunity nag or basher. So if I see something that's going on that I don't think is right, I'm going to tell you. And I'm going to tell you right now. I told you 3 months ago or 4 months ago when we watched GameStop, right? It went up to 500. People made some good money. And there's a lot of people that lost a lot of money. And my comment to you at that time was very, very simple, right? It's gambling. It's not investing. Yes, you may make money. More than likely, you're going to lose money. Stay away, right? If you've got a couple of % of your portfolio and you want to gamble it like that, kind of like playing the lottery or going to Vegas, right? Call it entertainment. It's not what you do with your long-term money. What your long-term money is you need to have a plan, a strategy, a game plan of knowing what you want, what you need, and then a roadmap to get there. And that's what we're chatting about this morning. So in the last segment, we're not going to rehash it. Blake told us how we could earn or would have earned if we would have listened to him a year ago, right? $64,000 on a $20,000 investment. Now, I'm going to put words in his mouth. I think I can do that. We will not guarantee this will happen in the future, right? We don't guarantee anything on Ron Siegel Radio. Death, taxes are pretty much guaranteed. Beyond that, we're going to say it happened in the past, means it could happen again. But if you're not in the game, it won't happen. So we're going to also talk a little bit right now about some longer term. So Blake, last you shared that 16% year over year appreciation.
Yes.
That was from Yahoo Finance, came out with that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to share that over the last 61 years, I've got stats that show 5.32% in Orange County, California.
And that's a substantial return.
Right? Mm-hmm. So let's take that same $400,000 property and just say, I'm going to say 5% because I'm a simple guy. I can't figure out 5.32.
Right.
So that's $20,000 appreciation in that same year. And you had mentioned about $20,000 out of pocket.
Right.
So that's about 100% return.
That's correct.
Right, because you didn't lose that 100,000, right? You still could get that back if you sell.
Yes.
And now you've got another 20 to go with it. So now we're at 40,000. Just if we follow the 61-year history. Now we're not going to promise that either.
Right.
Right, but we are going to say it happened. It could happen again.
Absolutely.
So now we've done that with our primary residence, and let's say we're 5 years out, and I'm not going to do compounding. But 5 years out, now we've got $200,000 in equity in that $400,000 house, which is now worth $600,000. Do we have a plan for the $200,000?
Well, some people do, and some people don't. we have a plan to help them if they're interested in what they could do with that.
Okay, let's start on that idea.
Okay, so the best thing to do is to re-leverage and reposition your existing portfolio to increase the number of doors or units that you have in your asset base. So when you look at the number of doors as an example, you could potentially, what some people might do in this situation is sell the existing unit they actually have. They might consider buying a duplex, live in one, rent one.
Okay, so we got to go back and for the simple man that I am, when you say the number of doors, so I've got a bedroom door, a bathroom door, I got a front door.
External.
Okay, so when you talk about doors, a duplex is really 2 doors. That's called 2 doors.
Yes, 2 doors.
Or if there's 8 apartments in a building, that's called 8 doors.
Yes.
Okay.
So among investors of real estate, that's the
term.
lingo, right? Mm-hmm.
So now you've learned a new term, 2 doors or doors.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how about using that one? rsrtrivia.com. Doors. rsrtrivia.com. Put that in as the answer to today's trivia question for a $100 Amazon gift card raffle. Doors. rsrtrivia.com. Okay, so you put that $200,000 into a duplex, and now what do I do?
Well, in that process, we'll make the investment decision that you decide you want to do, because we only provide the options. We don't make the decision.
Sure. Okay.
So we provide, we show what's available.
Same as my financial advisor, right? He tells me what is available.
Right.
And I make the decision of what I'm going to authorize to be done.
Right. And if you choose to do nothing, you can do nothing.
Right.
But it's our joy actually to show people what's possible, because in many cases the education it's not widely available. Most people have an expectation that if they're going to show you, they expect you to buy from them. Our goal is to educate, and then you decide whether we're the people to walk alongside of you from that point forward, because it just works better that way.
Sure.
When
no one wants to be sold.
No. And there's no selling involved. It's a complete education conversation. And most people who have left the presentation that I have been involved in, they'll say, "Oh, how come no one's ever showed me this before?"
Isn't that amazing how that happens?
Yeah, and it's an illustration that takes about 30 to 45 minutes that we don't have time to do here on the radio, and it's a very visual interaction because it's very personal to the individual, because everyone has a different view and vision of what their life's going to look like.
Sure. And that makes a lot of sense. So we're all going to be looking at our own situation. We're all going to figure out exactly where we want to go. And do we know how to get to where we want to go? That's the big question. Most people, all we know is what we know. And nowadays in school, they're not teaching us any of these things.
Right.
So we've really got a serious problem. If you want more information about some of the presentations, text RP100, RP Realty Pro 100. I'm a simple guy. RP100 to 79564, RP100 79564. And you'll see the website, calendar, get on their calendar, or maybe the next event. But we're going to talk more about what happens if we take that $200,000 out of our existing home, still living there. What can we do with that? Can we beat inflation? We're going to talk more with Blake Vartanian when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. We may even skip the featured home today because I'm more interested in hearing what Blake has to say. Reach me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. On Twitter at Ron Siegel, and if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you tired of paying rent? Are you tired of paying someone else's mortgage? Do you know qualified folks can potentially purchase a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket? Ron Siegel can help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. If you're tired of paying someone else's mortgage, reach out to Ron today at ronismylender.com. That's ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation mortgage adoption plan. You be the judge if it's right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to map@ronsiegelradio.com or call today Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporation and MLS 217037 and DCAL BRE number 018694552.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. As I said, we're going to skip our featured home today, brought to you by myfavouritelender.net. But I get to do that because I'm the host of the show, so when I find something that's more intriguing, I say, you know something, let's run with it because I think it's important to you, and that's what I do on Ron Siegel Radio is find things that I believe is important to you, to your future, to your family. So if you haven't been listening to the broadcast this morning, shame on you, or this afternoon, whenever you're listening to us, if you're on our ABC News and Talk evening playing of the broadcast. So we spoke about buying our first house, $400,000, 5% down, $20,000 out of pocket. Yeah, you can get mom or dad or grandma and grandpa to help with that if you need to, I would think. All right, so the concept then became, what are we going to do when the house appreciates? So we talked about last year it could have appreciated at $64,000. Don't know what it's going to do this year. Probably going to be not that good, but it's going to be better than our historic average. I'm an old guy, so I look at 61-year average, right? No, I'm not 61. But 5.32% is what the Orange County, California has done over the last 61 years on average, right? So it could happen again. Forecasting 9.1 going forward, 38.77 over the next 5 years. Forecast, don't know if it'll happen. But we said, okay, over 5 years, what happens if we did take Blake's advice and bought that home and we ended up getting that $200,000 in appreciation? Now, Blake, I have the ability to refinance my existing property, take all or part of that money out of the property because it's appreciated, and it's also over 5 years. It's got more equity in it because of the amortization table of making payments on it.
Yes.
So let's say I take $200,000 because we are simple people. I am a simple person. What could I do with $200,000 in the real estate world today?
Well, you could buy between 2 to 4 units, rental units,
okay,
if you wanted to do that and create a passive income stream where you have tenants paying off the property And in many instances, it would still have a positive, what we call a positive cash flow, meaning after all expenses and the debt servicing, there would be a return on investment back to you. Many of the examples we've done.
So I get to put some money in my pocket.
You get to put some money in your pocket.
Okay.
So in many of the instances that we've created this year, we've had, because we do so much investing work with investors, we've had investors who are looking to get out of their current properties, and because they have fully occupied properties that they don't want the tenants disturbed, or they don't want to deal with the COVID issues, they've said to us, you know what, if let's say my property's worth $800,000, we have an example right now where the seller said to us, bring us $720,000 and we'll sell it to your client without having to go on the market, because we don't want to have the go through that process. So we want to have a private sale. And so we see those things happening on a pretty consistent basis. We have multiple examples that are currently on our sales board. Now, are we going out and looking specifically for those? I will say yes and no, because we want to serve the ideal scenario that the client feels is best for their situation.
Sure, that makes sense.
You know, we have some people who are selling their own private properties.
Everybody's got their own reason for why they want to sell.
Right.
So, and some may say, okay, I want to sell it quick.
Right.
And you're able to say, okay, for a price, we can sell quick.
We can sell quick. And they say, you know, we fully disclose what the total value we believe the property will bring on the open market. And it's just our professional estimate based on current comps. And we provide them with all of the information so they can make the decision. But in this case, the seller said to us, we'll sell the property for $720,000, knowing it's worth upwards of $800,000, without the competition potentially bidding it up from that point.
Okay,
so that would just be the market analysis based on the current comps, and not to belabor that point, but they said 720 with that 200,000, somebody could turn around and buy that and potentially have a positive cash flow because the rents are really strong in that particular market.
So let's go two ways here. So we had 200,000. We could probably buy that $720,000 property for 180,000, 25% down.
Yes.
Right. We could use that other 25,000 more strategically if you wanted to, and we could. Our team will show you how to do what to do with the other 20,000 there that you had to make it more strategic, even increase your cash flow. Right. But then if we wanted to, we could turn around and sell that, 6 months or a year later or 3 months later for 800,000, maybe more, because your estimate was a number that you think it's going to sell at. And maybe there might be strategies that you and the team have to get more than that 800,000.
Yes.
Okay. So I have 180,000 invested, and I could potentially I'm walking in with 80,000 in equity. So my math says that's probably about 26, 27%
yes
return in just a couple of months.
Exactly. And we have to keep in mind, you started on that original investment of $20,000 of your own money.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing when you start when you work it all the way back,
and you start to see the compounding of it over time.
That big mushroom.
It starts growing exponentially.
Grows faster than I shouldn't say that. My waist size. What are you guys thinking about? Jeez. Okay, so we something that's true. Like we started off with 20K, and now you just shared with us, not me, how we can make 800 on this one. We had 200,000 in equity on the other property, and even if we sold that, now we would have $280,000 to go and buy some more property.
And that's, in many cases, that what you want to keep doing is turning over the properties using 1031 exchanges, it's exchange process, so that you're not having to pay capital gains. So you're deferring capital gains to a future time, which is a very complex conversation that we would, have in the individual consultation with the client.
So what we want our takeaway. So what we're going to take away from Blake's comment is there are tax strategies to help us defer or minimize our taxes.
Right. And so we work with trust lawyers to create the trust to protect the asset. We work with 1031 exchange company to protect you tax-wise. We have an accountant who works with us if you don't have one to help out with the strategies so that
So it's a team approach.
yes, so that you can go and have that consultation. We don't have to be involved in it, and that's between you and them, so that you get the privacy protecting, your strategy, your financial goals and aspirations, and we're here to walk alongside of you and to help you achieve your financial goals.
So what Blake is just explaining is something I've been talking about for the last 10 years. You need to have a household board of directors, right? That's all. It's very simple. A household board. Apple has a board of directors. Why don't you? Right. So you've got a real estate professional here. Blake can help you, can educate you on how to grow your wealth there. Talk about a CPA to help deal with the taxes, a 1031 exchange specialist to help deal with deferring taxes. You might need to have a legal specialist or a mortgage specialist. It's all part of the board of directors. And as always, I ask you, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, hey, special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, you want more information on this, give me a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
Let's go out and I can be seen.